This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
This is Rob Gronkowski from Dudes on Dudes. Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You can stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, or you can spice things up and try some unexpected pairings like dipping chicken wonton tacos in our honey Dijon mustard. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
This is your Don't Disturb This Groove leader fan radio network.
Tweet that.
And KFAN.com. 1 minute, 18 seconds past the hour, 3 o'clock Central Daylight Saving Time. Welcome back. It's a big, brand spanking new Monday edition of the Bumper to Bumper Show from the Great Minnesota Get Together, Guardsy's favorite event of the year. I am not far behind. And when I say don't disturb this groove, Guardsy, this is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how happy I am that these are our weather conditions. I don't take them for granted. How many years have we been roasting out here? More importantly, how many years have the people in front of us been roasting? Decade after decade with very little respite. Corn sweat index through the roof. Humidity absurd. Temperatures into the upper 90s. Calcutta Clipper comes through. And now, look at us.
It's magic.
Now, maybe the sun is still a little bright. I apologize for the lack of awning, but I got to believe it still feels a lot better when the temperature is about, what is it, like 72?
I think that's it.
No humidity to speak of.
Little breeze.
A nice breeze, and allegedly this is it for us. This is as good as it can get at the Great Minnesota Get Together.
How often have you had to wear layers
so excited.
to the state fair?
I mean,
where you got to layer up.
I'm a big hoodie guy.
Yes.
And now I can wear one comfortably and not feel like, I'm sweating like a stuck pig.
It's been a great run.
Meanwhile, you're still in short sleeves because you're a tough guy.
Yeah, and I was out in the sun a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I might regret it, or I might buy one of the new KFAN hoodies, the lightweight hoodies.
The lighter weight one?
The black lightweight hoodies. They're phenomenal. I'd be perfect for a day like this.
And are they both black, both hoodies? Both
I can't confirm
textures?
that. I don't know. I just saw the
I got to go look at them.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them. I have to go around the corner. Do we get any free ones this year?
You get one free one this year.
Oh, we do actually?
Yeah. You got to pick what you want.
Well, that's better than it's been many years.
Yeah, we've been on a good run the last few years.
Oh, we have?
Yes.
Well, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Then I'm owed several free items.
Luckily, we still have some old ones. You can go back through the archives that didn't sell.
Probably true. The deal is we're going the distance today. We will be. My name's Dan Barreiro, by the way, the host of the program. Guardsy is the producer of the show. And this is one of our long shows this week, 3 until 6:30 tonight. And thank goodness we have the full show because we have 3 outstanding on-location guests. Starting next segment, Chip Scoggins, correct?
Yeah.
Chip Scoggins is going to stop by.
He's in the back. He's already ready.
We're going to talk Gophers with him. We will talk pro football with him as well. And then about, is it 402, the Gopher women's basketball coach, your gal.
Yeah.
You work closely with her. Dawn Plissowhite's going to join.
Yep.
On, if my first question is this a make or break season for your program? How would she take that?
She might take it okay, actually.
Because, I mean, there's a chance here to make a jump, is there not?
Big time. Yeah. I think they'd be
got a bunch of
disappointed if they
people
did.
back.
Yes.
You got injured pieces back,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Including a big one.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. And I'm going to try to get her going on a couple of other Caitlin Clark-related subjects, too. So she is at 4. And then the big knocker, Bill Maurice from Mayo Clinic on location here in the 5 o'clock hour as well, correct?
Yes, and here's my concern about that. So I texted the knocker, who's probably on his way up right now.
Yeah.
And I texted him a week or so ago. And
so he's coming up especially for us.
Pretty much. And not only that,
wow.
As he tells it to me, he essentially cleared his whole calendar. Like he moved meetings, because I gave him some days.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm going to move some stuff around. And I said, well, don't cancel Mayo Clinic meetings to come up here. And he's like, nope, I'm coming. I'll see you on Monday.
So in other words, if a few lives are lost,
exactly,
that's a price you have to pay.
It's bumper to bumper.
Yeah. I kind of like the commitment to the bid.
If the research doesn't get done in a timely fashion,
as long as we can't be sued.
No.
As long as he's the only one who can get sued, what do we care?
I think that's it.
I think that's what it'll work. There's a lot of good stuff to get to with him as well. So that'll be between 5 and 6 o'clock. Real quick, while we're at it, why don't we? I'm bad at remembering guests, so give us the rest of the lineup because we keep adding.
We do.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, we're tinkering as we speak.
Yes.
So that's why I actually brought the sheet out, because tomorrow at 3:30, Tim Cheetah will make his yearly appearance. He will come from Giggles Campfire Grill and come down at 3:30.
Nice.
Lou Nanny will be here tomorrow at 4:30.
Okay.
And did you know who he's bringing? Do you know who's coming with him?
No.
That we're going to have.
Kirill Kaprizov?
No. But close. Another important young player for the Wild who's played in the World Juniors. Your guy Zeev Buyum is coming with the World Juniors.
Buyum is coming. We'll get the official pronunciation of his name from the man himself.
Yes.
Okay,
so that's 4:30. So that's what we have. I might add one more thing tomorrow.
Okay.
Still working on that. Wednesday at 3:15 is Nico Medved, new men's basketball coach at the U. You booked Patrick Royce at 4 o'clock that day.
Yeah.
And then Kessler, provided he doesn't get arrested on his way in or before that.
Yeah.
Or for assault of whoever. He will be here for his second fair appearance. Thursday is a short show out at 5. Russo Radio, Lavelli Neal III, and now Tim Conley added at 4:30 as well for the final segment.
Conley actually said he'd show up at 4:20. I said, well, you might have to wait because we're going to be very squeezed that day.
We are. Correct? We are, yes. And we're squeezed the next day as well because, speaking of the Wild, Bill Guerin will join 3:15 on Friday.
On Friday, okay.
Ben Gessling at 4 and Johnny Athletic at 5.
This might be the guestiest lineup we've ever had.
I think it is. Everything kind of worked out with days, and everybody was very proactive and productive in getting me their dates and put together a nice puzzle.
Are we going to set a record today? I mean, everybody seems to be expecting it. It feels pretty packed, but I don't know how this works. What do you think? Are we going to get another record today?
Well, given that Tenebee said it's the busiest Monday he's ever seen.
Right.
I think Kevin Fallness, who just stopped by to say hi.
He didn't say hi, though.
Oh, he did to me.
Well, he completely ignored the ambassador.
Yeah.
Still a lot of bad blood, I think.
I think there is. He'll text you later.
Yes, he will. Typical passive-aggressive Minnesotan.
64686.
Fallness.
They both said it feels like the busiest Monday they've had. When I was walking in here about 1, we just come from the parking lot, or I do, from the parking lot in here. I didn't really meander much, but it does feel extremely busy. So we could set a record.
We might set a record, and then the weather is supposed to be, like I said, don't disturb this groove. It's supposed to be pretty much like this all week. A slight variation in temperature. I'm sure their State Fair historians are going to tell us if the weather sticks to this the rest of the way, whether this would be, the most comfortable State Fair from a weather standpoint on record or not. It's got to be the most comfortable in a long time.
Yeah,
at the very least.
Yes.
That's not just recency bias, I don't think.
How was yesterday?
Yesterday was tremendous.
Did you have to cover your plants out here?
Almost.
Did you have to help out with the grass?
It was
a little bit of frost.
A little chilly, and it was a little breezier, but there was a good crowd. Again, I could tell coming in on Sunday that it was going to be packed because people take advantage, especially on a weekend.
Yep.
Where they may have less flexibility, and it was absolutely packed. What was your feedback today? Did you get anything?
Not really. I had a couple more of those fried pimento cheese.
I like
things.
those.
They were, of course, they were here.
You mean the same ones?
Not for the ones from Thursday.
Oh, I was going to say that. It might not be
they
good
may
for
have
you.
been.
Yeah.
They may have been. Tennis said they'd been sitting there for a while.
Okay.
I don't know if he meant Thursday or not, but no. Today was one of the days where I ate before I got here.
You did.
Otherwise, it's going to be.
I thought I was pretty responsible today. I did the RC's pulled pork sandwich, and then I got those ridiculous flavored chips.
Oh yeah.
But you can't eat all of them.
No.
It's like this massive bag of chips.
Yeah.
So I had about half of them, and then I'm stuck because I want to be generous, But I'm thinking, how many people, if I say, hey, you want to dip your fingers into the same bag I dip my fingers in to get chips?
Right.
Probably wouldn't like that, so I ended up throwing them away. Do you think some people might have?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
Yeah,
Free.
In this booth, we had sauce, we had Halvey. I might have grabbed a couple.
Very, very true.
Next time, bring the bag.
How excited are you? I know you're probably not excited. You're probably bitter that the Vikings go out and add, presumably he's locked, we'll see.
Yeah.
A veteran backup quarterback. Is it devastating that the Brosmer dream to start this season as the number 2 quarterback is probably dead?
No.
Or are you so excited by his continued progress that everybody knows Brosmer's going to make the roster?
Yeah, they basically cleared out the whole room because
Correct.
they know it. And they said, we don't love what we have.
We don't need this ripping guy.
Which we knew 2 weeks ago.
We don't need Sam Howell.
And Sam Howell, we're happy for him. Let's go, maybe upgrade. I don't know. Carson Wentz has been, hanging out for a while. 6 teams in 6 years, right?
Correct.
So,
Carson Wentz is living on name alone. Let's be honest.
Yeah, probably.
He may end up being fine as a backup. And it's quarterback whisperer.
Right.
Maybe he'll tap into something. But that's why I was actually surprised they did it.
Yeah.
But I think it tells you the degree of disappointment or unhappiness with the guy they traded for previously, Sam Howell.
You're right.
And Rippon to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And so,
but the Brosmer thing, I'm not even happy because I saw it coming.
You did.
I called it 3 months ago.
Yeah, you did.
I said and now it's funny is people are like, how'd everybody miss on this guy? Now again, he's not Tom Brady yet.
No,
he's not manna from heaven yet. But it has been interesting to kind of see the reaction to how well he's played and how quickly he's kind of acclimated and how it was a legitimate thing. Like, we don't want to put this dude on the practice squad because someone's going to take him. They think there's more to invest. But it's not surprising to me that he would endear himself to everybody there with how he prepares and how he plays.
If you are on your way in and you are planning to park at one of the lots around the original bank in Gopherland, may I offer a suggestion to you that might actually enhance the possibility that you'll get on a bus without waiting an hour and a half? Here's what happens. I'm not good at streets, but there's one bus stop where when I arrived on campus, there must have been, I'd say, a good 200 people in line. Massive. So what did I do? Because I'm a veteran of those lots. I said, well, you know what? Before the bus stops here, if you walk around the corner to your left, there's 2 other stops that nobody is at. So I literally, and by the way, I'm saying it's not a mile walk. I'm saying it's maybe a fifth of a mile walk.
Yeah,
it's
not
nothing.
far.
I walked to that spot. There's a bus waiting. There's nobody on it. I said, is this for the state fair? Yeah, come on in. So I'm on the bus. I'm the only person on the bus. Meanwhile, then the bus comes around to this massive throng of frustrated people who've been waiting for 4 hours. It's not that difficult to do. Now, maybe I made a mistake.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Yeah.
State fair hacks are like gold. You got to protect them.
But why? I just don't understand, because there's other smart people. I'm not the only smart person I know in Minnesota. There's several others.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, let's see now. Do we want to actually be in this line? I apparently annoyed those people.
Yeah, they were in that line.
They probably were in that line. I just don't get why people get so anal. Oh, here's the line.
Yeah.
Well, where's this?
Because where
are the buses coming from? Stop following so much.
Or do a little pre-planning
yes.
and understand that there are a couple of spots.
I'm just trying to help you. Now, again, it may be moot. When the weather's like this, you're not going to bake in the sun the way we ordinarily would in the same circumstance other years. So there it is.
So you got a nice seat on the bus, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I was like, I was. Come on in. Come on. Plenty of room.
Not all of you.
The water's warm.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations.
And it worked out. So the good news is that I wasn't standing again after that last experience where the driver was thought he was Mario Andretti.
Right.
And was, just slamming on the brakes. We're all standing there, basically about to go down like bowling pins. So that's why I said I got to be sure in this case I'm seated. All right, let's do this. Let's make this our first break of the show. Chip Scoggins is waiting in the green room as we speak. We'll talk a little of everything with him as we always do. The esteemed columnist from my former newspaper. When I was there, it was called the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. It's now the Minnesota Star-Tribune. When I was there, the print deadlines were actually semi-legit. Now they're a joke. Maybe that's one of the subjects I'll get him in hot water about when we talk to Chip. He is coming up after a brief break on a beautiful afternoon here at the Great Minnesota Get-Together.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You could stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels with white cheddar beer cheese, or you could spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. That's eating good in the neighborhood.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
Stay tuned.
If you want to chime in what's happening to your favorite KFAN shows, you can make your voice heard on the Brad Sean Bryant KFAN text line. Just let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That is 64686. Standard text message and data rates apply.
My next guest and I go back so far, I didn't even really know how far back we went until he reminded me that in another lifetime in Chicago, Illinois, he once covered, as a reporter, Coach Barreiro, my sister, as she was, at that point, pretty young in her now Hall of Fame high school coaching career. How about a round of applause for Chip Scoggins, kind enough to join us here on location, Star Tribune, etc. Yeah, that was another lifetime for you, right?
Yeah.
Chicago Tribune.
And your sister is not a great coach, but a Hall of Fame coach.
Yes.
She is.
And she's down to, like, I think 2 or 3 years. That's it.
Yeah, she, and I always loved covering her team and talking to her, and it was kind of a small world thing when I come here, and I was like, you introduce yourself. It's like, hey, I knew a Barreiro. Yeah, that's my sister.
And a lot of us.
She was, it still is.
Yes.
Just a phenomenal.
Yeah, she's had a hell of a run. And I were you covering, I don't know what the timing would be if you were covering her infamous, she got to the state title game a few years ago and lost. And that was the trip I was able to basically be there for every game. In fact, Guardsy, I think, was following it on the show, right?
I'm still paying for the live stream.
The live stream.
It's like $11 a month for the Illinois live stream. Yeah, for the Strip Varsity. Yeah, I keep forgetting to cancel it. I might do that while I'm sitting here. Yeah, we did live listeners during the show because they played at like 3:30.
It was fun. And then the previous time that she made her deepest run, she was on the verge of challenging, I think, the number 1 ranked team in the state. They got him on the ropes, And ultimately, she loses because one of her players shot the ball in the wrong basket at the end of the game. You weren't covering that year, were you? And by the way, that kid, now grown, lives one block from where my sister lives in Barrington. I said, well, every Halloween, I'd still TP the house. I would never go over.
Yeah.
She goes, you got to let it go. I said, well, no, that's not the way I'm wired.
I was there in 98 and 99.
Okay.
So I don't know. But it was great. Like when you went into the Broadcasting Hall of Fame, your sister was here, and that's the time I got to see her in 20-something years.
That's true.
It kind of reminisced. But I don't remember that, but it might have been when I was there.
That's a tough way to lose, man.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a tough way. And I didn't attend that one, but my dad, who was still alive then, called me. And he was like,
trying to explain that one.
You're not going to believe how this thing ended. And it was a perfectly run out-of-bounds play.
Yeah.
Where, they're full court pressing. They need the ball. And the player gets wide open based on there's a nice screen set. And then she just forgot we're in the back court here. That's the other team's basket. Perfect bank shot. And it goes in. And
it ended the season?
It ended. Yes, they eliminated them.
Whoa.
That was the end. That's a tough way.
That's a
tough way to lose.
That's a tough way.
That's exactly it. All right, so where do we want to begin? The Gopher football obviously starts Thursday against Buffalo. By the way, Guardsy yesterday, on Guardsy's advice, I said, well, how much should I mock the early schedule? And he said, well, wait a week. He said, maybe there might be a little more material for you against Northwestern State. So yesterday during the show, I literally got out the Northwestern State season by season and did each game. They lost like every game last year by 50.
Yeah.
Some more than that. The year before that, they lost every game. I think the year before that, they forfeited 4 games.
Yeah,
so Northwestern State would probably be less of a challenge than Buffalo, University of Buffalo. Is that correct?
Slightly. I don't know how they came up with this.
Do we have any clue?
I don't know.
You're the college football guy.
I don't know how, and I don't know why. I know why, but week 2 is a joke. Like, they should not be playing that team. Buffalo.
It's not home and home, is it?
That's home.
I wouldn't even know where to go.
It's Louisiana. I looked it up yesterday. It's Louisiana.
I do know it's in Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana.
No, Buffalo, they're I think
Mid-American Conference, right?
Yeah, they're a MAC team, and I think a lot of people are picking them 3rd or 4th in the MAC. They return a lot of players. So it's the Gophers are favored by 17, so it's not like a game that you should lose, but it's not going to be like it is week 2 where that game's it's just not a waste of time, but it's kind of a joke.
Yeah, the second one for sure. Obviously, I want you to talk a little bit about the QB, and more importantly to me, you have labored really hard the last 2 or 3 years. You've campaigned for the head coach PJ Fleck to throw the ball, and last year he finally did. Now, how much of that was he finally saw the light? Or he just loved Brosmer that much and trusted him? Because I think that's what I'm curious about. Guardsy thinks he's kind of locked in. But is he? Are you convinced he's locked in on that? Or do you think he may revert a little bit? Maybe out of necessity. Because I don't know if this guy's as accurate a quarterback, a thrower, as Brosmer.
I think he's probably in the middle, if I was to guess. We had a kind of a spirited exchange after the Wisconsin game last year, and I asked him about Brosmer and about changing. He said, I had to change. Like, look at my offense. I had to change. Yep. And part of that was he was saying that if you had the running backs that we had, you would have run it the same amount, number of times. I'm not sure I would have, but, they averaged almost 32 passes per game last year, which was middle of football, college football.
It's not exactly Air Coryell, but for him.
But for him, it was run and shoot. I mean, this was dramatic. And so I think, based on everything that you hear from them, they really like this kid. They think he has a high ceiling. In the little times we've been around him, watching practice, I mean, the physical part you can see. 6'5", good arm. Talking to him, he seems like a really mature kid. Talking to players about him, just the way his approach. He kind of followed in Brosmer's shoes in terms of his study habits and all those things. But we have to see it. But I don't think PJ wants to go back to that style of play where you have to be so dependent on the run game, because you shrink your margin of error when you run that kind of offense, because you're naturally going to be in a lot of close games because you're just not going to score a lot of points when you're trying to have 10, 12, 14 play drives all the time. Too many things can go wrong. So I think they trust this young guy to the degree that they want it to be more balanced. Now, are they going to be pass first like they were last year? I don't know if they're going to do that. And part of that was Max Brosmer, what he proved to them, that they trusted him and they felt like they could trust him. Part of it was they didn't run the ball that good last year.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
was atypical of a PJ team. They were inefficient. Sometimes they would be good, sometimes they couldn't run the ball at all. And so I don't think the trust level was there with PJ in terms of, hey, we can really rely on this. So I think that's going to be determined too, Dan, because if you look at their offensive line, all 5 spots are going to have a new starter. Now they have 2 starters in there that started last year, but they're in new positions. So I used the word earlier today with Guardsy on our podcast, unveiling. And that's what this is. It's not just an unveiling for a new quarterback. It's an unveiling for this offensive line to see what it's going to be like. They have 3 or 4 new wide receivers. They're moving Corey Parrish over to run some offense as a wide receiver. So there's a lot to be learned, not just about the quarterback, but starting Thursday night about what this offense's identity is going to be. But I do think PJ saw the value of having a passing game and a quarterback that he can trust and rely on and not just have to play everything so conservative.
Can Drake Lindsey run?
I don't
know. I'm not talking about the wishbone, but
yeah.
I mean, does he have escapability or no?
Yeah, probably, but I don't think that's his first
I don't
choice.
think it's
right.
Not like J.J. McCarthy, where I think that's probably going to be a bigger part of his thing. With Drake, I don't think that's more of a natural thing for him. He's probably, he looks like a good athlete, but in terms of just escapability, I think we need to see more of that.
Guardsy had pointed this out to me a while ago, and I've talked about it a lot, even without him. That if you go through the Gopher schedule this year, if you're going to have what might be viewed as a really good season, it pretty much requires you run the table at home, right? And the home schedule is forgivable enough to say you have a chance to do that if you're serious.
Yeah, because there are 2 games now that I would say, okay, they're going to lose these games.
Right.
Oregon and Ohio State. If you're going to play those teams, I'd rather play them on the road because they're probably going to beat you no matter where you play them. There's a few games where you say, okay, you're going to pick them to win this week, next week.
You're going to pick them over Cal?
Purdue. But Cal is in, I think I would, but Cal's in that, to me, you have those games, Rutgers, Nebraska, Michigan State. I don't know if they're coin flip, 50-50, but it's not like you sit here today and like, wow, that's a slam dunk. They're going to win that game. Those are the games in this new Big Ten, which I like to call it. I think the tiers are, with the 18 teams, I think there's 2 or 3 really elite teams every year that are just head and shoulders above everybody. I think there's 2 or 3 really bad teams that are, clearly struggling. And then a bunch of teams in the middle where it's just that day. It's going to come down to a 1-score game, and they weren't good in those last year. I mean, that was the difference in their season. And so if they're going to get to 8 wins, you've got to win those Nebraskas, Michigan State, those type of team, Rutgers. I would put, although Illinois is a good team, but I would put them in that middle. There's just a bunch of teams that are in this group together where, because of the transfer portal, because of the way college football, we're seeing more parity, and it really because of the transfer portal that I think all these teams are kind of more, there's more parity and they're more bunched together.
How many games do we have to win to be the Indiana of 2025?
At least 9, I would think.
At least 9, 10 to be safe.
Yeah. Which means if
the losses are Ohio State and Oregon.
And you have to win all those games.
Oh, you got to win the rest of them.
You have to win all those, if you want to call them coin flip or whatever, all those games that you look pretty evenly matched on paper to get into that mix. You're going to have to win all of them probably.
All right, let's make this the bottom of the hour pause. I got a couple more Gopher items, and then we got some Vikings to discuss. The Carson Wentz news yesterday, what Scoggins' reaction is to that. And we'll get to several other things as well. Chip Scoggins kind enough to join us at our grandstand location. As I mentioned earlier, Dawn Plitzowite, the Golden Gopher women's basketball coach, will join about 4:02. And then Mayo Clinic big knocker Bill Maurice, specifically risking lives apparently at Mayo Clinic in order to hang with us between 5 and 6 o'clock. So that's our on-location guest lineup on, absolutely perfect weather here.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You could stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels with white cheddar beer cheese, or you could spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. That's eating good in the neighborhood.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
Here at the fair. Stay tuned.
We all remember that one teacher who made a difference, believed in us, challenged us, or just made learning fun. Well, now's your chance to say thank you in a big way with iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominated an outstanding public school teacher who's gone above and beyond for their students to win $5,000 to stock their classroom with whatever they need. Today's teacher is Sydney Caltagirone. I said that correctly. Caltagirone, who is a special education resource teacher at Lakeview Elementary School, and who folks told us celebrates all growth in her students and advocates for each and every one in her caseload. Help us say thank you to educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now. iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Chip Scoggins back with us from the Great Minnesota Get Together. All right, I got one more Gopher question. You guys had, I thought, an interesting piece asking sort of laying out the tenure. You had the column regarding the culture question, but this was about the tenure, and it raised basically the premise of it was that clearly in the time PJ has come here, he has raised the floor, and to a certain extent he's raised the ceiling. But the headline, I thought, asked the question that I didn't think was completely answered in the text, which was, how much more can he raise the ceiling? Yeah. And I think it's a fair question to ask. Yeah. I think a lot of people, especially in this environment where right now at least there's no divisions in the Big Ten, where is this sort of where it is? Where it's definitely a lot of years going to be above average, but we're not going to have an Indiana year, or we're not going to have a couple years where we finished the season ranked 8th in the country or 10th in the country, something like that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways that question can go, because obviously he's done a good job with recruiting, but with revenue sharing now, NIL, they're never going to outspend anyone. But they are in a position where they can retain the Coy Parriches, the Darius Taylors, hopefully the Drake Lindsays,
right.
Those type players. Now that the divisions have gone away, it's made it more difficult to get to that Big Ten championship game.
Why does that make any sense, by the way? Why did they do that?
Well, I don't think...
I don't understand it.
In a
long-term sense.
Yeah, because you want to give more fan bases...
Exactly.
More opportunities to feel like their team's in the mix.
Part of it.
I think it's not ideal. I bet if you ask the coaches, they would rather have divisions. I still think personally... they're going to get to 20 teams or 20 schools eventually, and then they'll have 4, and then you'll go back to division. Then you can have the semifinals, and then all that. So that makes more sense. So it is harder to get, into that championship game. But I, to my point, we talked about earlier with the transfer portal, it absolutely has closed the gap for schools. Indiana, and what they haven't done with Fleck. When you have that season, when your schedule lines up, you need to maximize it. And they've had opportunities to maximize it, and they've fallen short. Back when it was the divisions. Indiana absolutely maximized their schedule last year. You have to be able to, and it's not going to happen every year. Indiana's going to probably take a big step back this year. But when
Speak for yourself.
That's right. But when you have a schedule that is conducive for winning 8, 9, possibly 10 games, you've got to be able to do it, and that's going to come down to winning those marginal things. But I think the recruiting's there. I think the portal, the opportunity's there. They can pay money. Hey, revenue sharing, you can give as much as Ohio State. You can give more than Ohio State's given. Now, they'll make it up in NIL. But, with the money is really it's going to be interesting to see what that does for the parity in terms of coaches are hoping it removes some of the wild, wild west. I don't think it will, because it's always going to be, people will find loopholes and find ways to pay players more than what's allowed. But they're hoping it cuts out some of the nonsense that we've seen in the NIL, which became pay for play.
By the way, what's the current state of the program regarding home attendance? Where are we? Good? Could still be better?
Well, it could be better. I mean, they had the thing last week where they gave away, not gave away, but $10 tickets for 24 hours, and it was a good idea. Yeah. But that's it's pretty much across the board in sports nowadays. It's hard to get fans because of prices, convenience, all those things. Student section, I will say, PJ has done a really good job of cultivating the student section, and that's where you drive your atmosphere as your students. And so they've done a good job. Student section, the last, 5-year guards has been outstanding.
Since after COVID.
Yeah. One last thing on this, and then we'll talk some Vikings and some other things. And this is part of what I think you wrote about this last time. It is fair to say, is it not? Because I'm with you. I think there have been a couple of... There's no arguing with the overall tenure. It's not a failure by any means. But there are a couple times where you say, God, win one more, and you're in such a better position. You haven't done that. But in terms of, I won't use the culture word because you did a lot, but in terms of behavior, player behavior, the sort of Fleck mantra in that regard, as much as some of us roll our eyes about all the cliches, the record does indicate and that he's done a pretty good job there, and we probably don't talk about that enough.
Well, it is, and that was kind of the premise of he has built this program on culture, and that buzzword drives us all crazy, but he believes in it to his core. And the thing I approached him with was, how do you maintain or continue that now that you're introducing money and you're paying players, and he has essentially $15 million to spend on a roster? How do you keep that from infiltrating your locker room and creating headaches? Because guess what? If we play the same position, you're making more than me. All of a sudden, I'm playing better and having a better year. Human nature is going to say, no, wait a second. I should be getting as much as... So you have those things that he's going to have to deal with, and what he's built. And when we talk to their players, the ones that come here, they buy it. I mean, they regurgitate it. They do his sayings, and so it is important to him, and he thinks that will help them navigate this pay-for-play world where all of a sudden it is a big business now, where you're talking about millions and millions of dollars every year you're spending on your roster.
All right, let's talk Purple. They open in Monday night. Are you going to that Monday night opener?
No, LaBelle's
going
home.
Oh, of course, going home. He milks that every opportunity.
That's kind of the gentleman's agreement.
Yeah,
if you're home. You get Tennessee. True. I'm going to cover.
That's right. That's it. Yeah, but you got some Chicago connections as well. So the Vikings work out Carson Wentz Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, as we're talking about it in this booth during Sunday sermons, the story breaks that they not only worked him out, they signed him. And I admit, I was kind of saying, okay, that's cool, it's cute. Look, take a look at him, kick the tires, but he just hasn't. He's become a journeyman. I just don't think it's that big a deal. They announced, we're all in on him, at least as the backup. So, what do you make of that? Is it more an indication that they were really dissatisfied with the veterans that they've already had, or more a feeling like, it's the quarterback whisperer? He might be able to tap in on something with Carson Wentz that no one else in recent years has?
Probably both, but I would lean towards the former.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer training camp went, I've been saying for a couple of weeks now, I felt like they had their 1 and their number 3, but they didn't have their 2. And I just didn't think Sam Howell fit. His training camp was all over the map. He had some really poor days. He had some days where he's okay. His first preseason game was good. Second one was, a disaster when he was in there. But it was interesting listening to KO talk about him. He said at one point, this is a player we need to see in a game situation, which I took to mean they weren't impressed with what they were seeing in practice.
Right.
And then he also, at one point, he talked about how dramatically different this scheme is than anything he had run. And it's a complicated scheme. Every quarterback that's come through here has talked about how complex it is, and it takes some time. And I just think it was so different than what Howell had run that I never really felt like this was going to be O'Connell's guy. And so, Wentz, he's bounced around all over. So I guess he's your number 2 because you don't want Brosmer to be number 2 right now. I mean,
Guardsy does.
Guardsy wants to be a starter.
Yeah, why not?
Guardsy thinks
we all love Max Brosmer, and he has, I guess, surprised Vikings fans or observers, but I don't think if you've watched him, you're not super surprised that he's a smart quarterback or that he's accurate. But the thing with Wentz is there's some, familiar with the coaching staff, familiar with the system, so they feel like, maybe you could just plug him in there. But really, like, what do they want? They want JJ not to get hurt. That's what they want. They don't want to have to go down that route because I guess Wentz is an upgrade from Howell, but it's, there's unknowns there too with him.
If let's say, for the sake of this discussion, that JJ does run into a couple of injury issues, misses considerable time, and Carson Wentz has to be the starting quarterback for more than half of the season, does that mean lost season? Does that mean you have enough faith in KOC that, damn it, did it with Darnold? They were viable. They had or is that asking a little bit too much?
Yeah, interesting. This team is not built everywhere around the quarterback to say lost season. They have, everything they've done with this roster is
to make a run.
They're built to win right now, and that was, all the moves they made, all the money they spent, the veterans they brought in here, guys that have come back, speaks to this should be a playoff team. And Kwesi said it at the kickoff press conference before training camp. They built this team with an idea of what it should be, and then somebody has to follow up, like, what's that idea? He's like, a team that can win multiple ways, and when you get into the playoffs, you have to be able to win multiple ways. So they're not thinking about this as, hey, we got a first-year quarterback, and let's just see what happens. Like, they want to be in the mix and be a relevant contender, and so I think you just have to rely on the fact that Wentz is a veteran and played at a high level at some point in his career. Obviously, he hasn't been here recently. But also that KO would be able to figure it out and kind of coax enough out of him with the talent he has around him with that defense that it wouldn't be a lost season.
What for you going into the season is the biggest concern, the biggest place where you think that there could be some challenges or things maybe a little bit problematic?
As we sit here today, I would say wide receiver. I still have to think they're going to add someone. But also think, do you want to give away a lot for 3 games? That's the thing you're wrestling with. Because, one, you need to get off to a good start with this schedule when you look at how, particularly that 4-game stretch there in the middle. But if you're not having Addison and Naylor's injury, we're calling it week to week, and now all of a sudden they look really thin. And so I don't know if they can say, well, we have Jefferson and Hawkinson, and we'll throw to our running backs and maybe try to navigate these first 3 games, even though they're thin. I don't know. I still think they're going to add there at least one, whether it's Thielen or whoever. But as I said here today, that would be the top concern. When I went into training camp, I thought it was cornerback. Did they have enough corners? I'm still not completely sold 100%.
No, because the number 2 corner is making a jump.
Yeah,
right? Isaiah,
exactly.
Right?
And you're hoping. And Flores has been really high on him. He talked about watching him all the way back to camp. But you need more than 2, right? You got to have 3 or 4. And so I won't be surprised once they have all the cut downs tomorrow if they add another corner. So we could see 3 or 4 guys added to the roster after the 53.
You can make the argument that, it's 3 games to get a better option as your number 2, but maybe even after that he can become your legitimate number 3.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Thielen as a number 3, despite his age, I don't think anybody would complain about it at this point. Although, again, how demanding is Carolina going to be?
Well,
how far do you go? And does Carolina really have any incentive to move him?
Well, Carolina's so young at wide receiver. You think you'd want to have a veteran in there to kind of help that process. So I'm sure they're saying, hey, we're not just going to give him to you. You're going to have to, it's going to cost you something here. So, I mean, I think Naylor has shown him some stuff, and he's worked hard, and he came back stronger. But the hand injury, how long is that going to linger? So, but they need to get off to a good start. They just do. And so if it takes maybe spending more than you want to get a third, really a second in here right away to kind of bridge this gap until Addison's back, maybe you have to do that because you don't want to fall in a hole when this is a team that's built to win today.
Have you picked a record yet?
Yeah, we do it for a Star Tribune. I said 11-6.
11-6 is solid.
Yeah, it's weird. Nobody's going to pick them to win 14 games, obviously, but I've been, I don't know if confused or was the word, but from the national perspective saying it's over under 7. I just don't think they're.
Well, they're doing, because
the quarterback, right?
They're doing the analytic bit. I think it's quarterback and
course correction type thing.
Yes, where they won too many close games, and so it's got to revert. I don't know that I agree with them, but I think that's the thinking.
Yeah,
and having a quarterback that you may like but has not done.
Yeah, and I get that, but I just don't think they're going to go 14-7. So I think 11. I can see 10 or 11 wins. I think their defense is really good. I guess my biggest concern there is they're relying on veterans over 30. Got to stay healthy. Got to take some of those reps off. But the fact that they trade Harrison Phillips tells you about what they feel about their young guys in depth.
Yeah, they better be right about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I
started it for, every game, didn't
every game. Yeah. I mean, it was a surprise, but I think from my perspective, Brian Flores has the equity and earned the right to say we believe in these guys. So.
Let's finish with a little Twins. Chip Scoggins joining us, of course, writes a column for the now Minnesota Star Tribune. We have a T-shirt we're selling proudly in the booth, representative of this program, from Dong Show to Gong Show, to sort of represent your favorite baseball team, the Minnesota Twins. I think you kind of agree with that. I think you're as amazed as anyone about the course this ownership has taken really over the course of the last 2+ years. It's almost, to me, you can't make it up. It seems like at every turn they have found a way from a public relations standpoint to make it worse. So is there anything in your DNA that says, okay, look, this has been an embarrassment, but I'm hearing that with these new minority owners, it's the same people at the top, but the money they gain, the cash flow they gain from there, there's indication that they're going to turn it to invest back into the program in a way that the team has not done so the last couple of years.
I would say I'm beyond skeptical. I believe it when I see it. I just trust what I see with my eyes, trust what I've seen them do, see how they've run the team. I was floored when they took the team off the market. Now, maybe I shouldn't have been. Maybe that's my naivety. The longer this went on, you had to figure that they weren't getting what they were seeking. But knowing the temperature of the fan base and what their attendance looks like, and I don't think that's all because they're a bad team. I think there's some protests going on with who the ownership is. I struggle to understand why they would still want, because when you talk about right sizing payroll and doing these things, and it to me it says you don't really want to be in the business of doing it. So I was surprised by that. I've kind of given up expecting that we're gonna be committed. We're going all in. I just don't see it happening. I'm curious to see at the end of the season if there are any changes, and by changes I mean Falvey and Rocco.
Yep.
Those are the two faces. And as we sit here today in late August, my hunch says they'll probably run it back.
Run back the whole deal. Well, do the comments that we have heard from Pablo in particular, speaking of the C word, culture, suggesting that this team, when it starts losing, it's not set up in a way to sort of come back out of that more quickly. How much of a reflection, Gargi and I, neither one of us, I think, has been heavily into the everything's Rocco's fault and fire Rocco. I also don't think, he's a Hall of Fame manager at this point, but those sorts of comments do make me wonder if it's going to get the attention of people who run this team, because that would seem on the face of it to be a large part of the job as a manager.
Yeah,
right?
Well, it is, and it's the day-to-day and running the clubhouse. But I do know Derek Falvey's a big fan of Rocco. I mean, they gave him an extension, and it's just 1 year, but they did it, and so I assume that would be his decision unless the Pohlad family came and did it. And I think they would trust what Derek Falvey did. So, and I agree, it might be the easy target, but I look at the end of the day, this is going to be 4 or 5 years, right, that they missed the playoffs with an expanded postseason, with 2 embarrassing end of the season and collapses.
Well, let's face it, they never have really recovered from the late season collapse last year. Ever since.
And so what do you stand on?
Yeah.
Like, when you make that argument that let's push forward with this, what are you standing on? I mean, the track record's just not there here recently, and it's not like you can say, well, we got these young guys and we're going to see. Well, there's no guarantee of that. I remember 10 years ago this summer, I went to Chattanooga to watch this great collection of prospects that were going to lead this.
Silver linings. It's the silver linings.
There's one guy left. Byron Buxton. One guy left.
Yeah.
And they've had,
right.
Barrios had some nice moments. Kepler had some nice moments. Blanco had nice moments. Right. But in terms of what we thought, it didn't lead to that. So I get cautious. I mean, we all love recruits. We all love prospects, but you don't know how they're going to pan out. They're not all going to be hits, I can promise you.
Were you the big recruiter that wooed Randy Shaver into the Star Tribune Empire?
I can't take credit for being the big recruiter, but I did have some conversations with him throughout the process, and excited for that, and excited for what our company's doing.
I think it's a great. I think it's a great marriage. I don't know where it goes, but I think adding him to the mix was genius.
Yeah,
I really do.
It was, and Randy was super excited.
Yeah, that's it. You can tell.
He is high school football to his core, and he has a time, obviously, now that he's, I guess, retired, semi-retired. But it's a super awesome development for us, and really Strip Varsity, just the investment and commitment we're making to cover high school sports, I think, is unprecedented nationally for newspapers. The amount of different things that they're doing, people they're hiring, resources they're throwing at it. I'm excited for it, and hopefully people that love high school sports check it out.
Will you be with Gargi in the original bank tomorrow night?
I will be
Thursday
there Thursday night. I will be there Thursday night. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you can't wait. Yeah. Buffalo. What's their mascot?
The Bulls. The Bulls.
The Buffalo Bulls.
Yeah, not the Bills.
I think Northwestern State, it's the Demons, or is it the Demon Deacons? No, I think it's the Demons.
The Demons.
I won't be there that way.
Oh, come on. What?
I will not be there that day.
They're still playing. They got to win the game.
They got to win it, yeah.
And you know what? We will be 0-0 in the Northwestern State season before that game starts.
That's right.
Even though we're actually 1-0 already in that season.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't think PG will admit it. Thanks for coming to see us, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Chip Scoggins, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause for not only showing up, but not whining about how to get here the way Glenn Mason, his good buddy, my good buddy. By the way, Mace still wants us to collaborate on a book. I mean, you're the guy who should collaborate with him, but and I said I continue to believe we would kill each other before we would get to chapter
We should make a movie of that.
Be a good documentary, for sure. Thanks, Chipper.
All right,
we'll take a pause, top of the hour break, and when we come back, let's talk women's basketball, among other things. Who knows what else we might come up. Dawn Plitzowite, the Golden Gopher women's basketball coach, will join us, and then Mayo Clinic big knocker Bill Maurice in the 5 o'clock. I've already had a few people stop here during a break and tell me that they want me to thank Maurice for them because they still appreciate all the comments and analysis he gave during the COVID pandemic. So I'll definitely pass that along. Everybody on location, every guest pretty much this week, rest of the way on location as well. Back from the Great Minnesota Get-Together in a minute right here on the Fan.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You could stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, or you could spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. That's eating good in the neighborhood.